You felt it. That sudden jolt when you sense someone behind you. The chill that creeps up your spine when you walk a dark street alone. The pounding heart when you hear a noise in the night, and your imagination fills the silence with danger. You tell yourself you're safe, that you're modern, that nothing's lurking in the shadows. But your body doesn't believe you, because for millions of years you weren't the hunter, you were the hunted. And your nervous system is still carrying that truth. We like to imagine ourselves as apex predators, humans with cities, weapons, satellites, rulers of the food chain. But zoom out into evolutionary history, and that image collapses. 3 million years ago, on the open plains of Africa, our ancestors, small, upright, awkward, weren't top predators. They were targets. Australopithecus afarensis, more than a meter tall, long arms, small brain, eyes always darting. They had no claws, no thick hides, no venom, just fragile bodies wrapped in vulnerability. The savannah wasn't a paradise. It was a hunting ground. Leopards stalked from trees. Saber-toothed cats crouched in tall grass. Hyenas scavenged and attacked. Even giant eagles swooped down, carrying away children. And for millions of years, the story of humanity was the story of survival as prey. Imagine crouching in tall grass, every muscle tight. You hear a rustle. The air shifts. You freeze. You don't need to see the predator. You feel it. The weight of eyes you can't quite locate. Your pulse pounds. Your breath shallows. The world narrows to silence and fear. That wasn't paranoia. That was life. And that state of vigilance, that readiness to run, to fight, to hide, shaped the brain you carry today. Archaeology shows this story in bone. Fossils of early humans, punctured by leopard teeth. Skulls, cracked by hyena jaws. Caves once thought to be homes, now revealed as predator dens, where our ancestors' remains were dragged and devoured. Think about that. Darkness wasn't safe. Silence wasn't peaceful. Caves are symbols of shelter, were sometimes traps. So what happens to a mind raised in a world where safety never existed? It adapts. It sharpens. It becomes hyper-aware. Psychologists call it hypervigilance, a brain wired to detect threats faster than rewards. That's why your attention is hijacked by criticism instead of compliments. Why you replay awkward conversations long after they're over. Why your heart races when someone stares too long. Because in the ancient world, attention to threat kept you alive. Miss a smile, and you lose nothing. Miss a rustle in the grass, and you're dead. So your mind was sculpted by fear, and fear became the teacher of imagination. Think about it. Predators forced us not only to react, but to predict, to imagine outcomes before they happened, to run scenarios in our minds. If I hide here, will I be seen? If I climb this tree, will I be safe? That ability to picture the unseen, to anticipate the future, became the foundation of human intelligence. We didn't imagine because life was easy. We imagined because we were prey. Now, here's the twist. The predators are mostly gone. Lions don't stalk us through subways. Leopards don't drag us from our beds. But the predator's eyes live on inside us. That hypervigilance didn't vanish. It turned inward. That's why your anxiety feels overwhelming. Why rejection stings like death. Why social embarrassment makes you want to disappear. Because being noticed once meant being targeted. And your brain still equates attention with danger. The predator isn't outside anymore. It's inside your nervous system, and that's uncomfortable. Because it means our greatest fears today are not irrational. They're ancient echoes. But here's the hope. Prey instincts are not weakness. They are hidden strengths. A gazelle knows the shape of a shadow before it forms. A rabbit hears danger in the silence before a hawk strikes. And humans, we turned vigilance into vision. Artists see what others miss. Entrepreneurs sense danger before markets shift. Parents feel their child's mood before a word is spoken. That sensitivity, that prey awareness is not a flaw. It is a superpower. The challenge is remembering the predator is gone. That the raised voice in a meeting is not a lion. That the delay in a text is not a hyena waiting to strike. When we confuse ancient vigilance with modern threats, we collapse into anxiety. But when we harness it, we become perceptive, empathetic, intuitive. Story example. From caves to culture. Think back to those caves. At first, they were places of death. Bones dragged in by predators, skulls cracked open. But over time, humans flipped the script. The caves that once trapped us became sanctuaries. Places where we painted walls with bison, lions, and myths. We turned the predator's shadow into stories, into gods, into meaning. We didn't just survive fear. We transformed it. And maybe that's what you're called to do today. Not to erase fear, but to reshape it. So the next time you feel eyes on you in a crowd, in silence, in your own mind, remember, you're not broken. You're carrying the vigilance of 1,000,000 years of survival. Your ancestors lived in predators' eyes. They endured. They adapted. They imagined their way forward. And now, their fear lives in you not as a prison, but as a compass. Because vigilance isn't just about surviving threats. It's about seeing possibilities. The predators may be gone, but the fire they lit in our imagination still burns. This was Predator's Eyes, living when you were never at the top. But this story connects to another. Once we stopped being prey, we became something far more dangerous hunters with fire, stone, and imagination. And that transformation didn't just change history, it changed the world. If you want to uncover how those ancient moments still shape your fears, your resilience, and your very identity, join me here on Ancestor Flame. Subscribe and carry the fire forward.